What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, April the 2nd. Pops and I back in the shop.
Yo!
And we're working on Matt's factory stock chassis. And we've been busy. We got a mess. And we didn't work on it Sunday. Of course, it was Easter Sunday. And yesterday was a long day for me at work. I got home later than usual, so we didn't work on it yesterday. So today, Pops and I are back in the shop, and we've got some more work done on it Saturday. And I'll turn the camera around here in just a second and show you what we got going on. And we'll show y'all what we're going to be working on this evening. Y'all hang out. Alrighty, as you can see, Pops and I got the front bar between the frame rails. We cut the factory bumper mounts off. We got our front hoop made, radiator guard, if you will. And it bolts in, of course. We just stuck some bolts in it for now just to hold it on there so we can get everything laid out. And we have our tabs to weld here to put our bar across here. If y'all remember, we do that to help we put tabs on it to help support the hood. So we'll put that bar in, and let's see, we got our halo support bar that goes up to that side of the halo, comes down to the bar that we tie the dash bars together. And then, of course, y'all remember we offset a little bit and go down to our 1 1/4 inch. That is the bottom of our drive shaft loop. Now that has a bend in it right there. It dips down. It has plenty of room for drive shaft. So we will take some 1-inch tubing and we will just square off right there and make the drive shaft loop. We're actually going to make this one out of 1 inch, and we're going to square it off instead of putting a bend in it. That way we have room to put the shifter linkages in through the drive shaft loop with the drive shaft. So we'll get to all that. Obviously you can see my seat is sitting in it. We done the seat bracket. Y'all know we use 3/16 plate. We gusset it, weld it all together, and bolt it through the back of the seat. And we have a piece of 120 wall tubing down there that connects the hoop to the side of the frame rail. And then we done 1 1/4 inch there to tie all that across. And we plated the inside of the frame all the way down. We notched it out just a little bit to give a little more room. This is what I was talking about in the last video where we made this halo shorter. So we dropped the seat down a little bit below the frame rail. Basically where the factory seat would sit. When, on a factory G-body, the floor pan dips way down, which this would be the rear floor pan. This is where your feet would be if you're sitting in the back seat. So if you're...
Backseat drivers.
Yeah, and back seat drivers. If you're wondering about why my seat is in there, that is because Matt and I are about the same size. He will have the same size seat. Matter of fact, he ordered the exact same seat. So I know if my seat fits, his seat should fit. So we were working on that. We put one of the exhaust turn downs on. It will go under the floor pan, under all of our bars, and clear everything. That is to meet the rules. We do use these headers. I call them 90 degree, which they're not really 90 degree. But we do use these headers. These are IMCA stock car headers and USRA stock car headers. And since we are able to do the fab, firewall, and floor pan, we can use these headers. And our rules say that the exhaust must exit parallel with the ground. So all you have to do is put a 90 on the bottom, which that is an 80 degree from show and fail that goes with these headers, and the exhaust meets the rules. So just in case anybody was wondering, I'm going to pull this seat back up where it needs to be. I had kind of slid down on me just a minute ago because I was actually sitting in there test fitting some stuff. Pops and I were doing some measuring with the Firewall floor pan where the pedals are going to go. And if I can find my tape measure. Dave, will you have me that red tape measure right there? I have a mark right here for the Firewall. Now, see if I can do this while I'm holding the camera. Pull that out a little bit, Dave. Ooh, right. If y'all remember, we have a rule from the front of the seat where the shoulder goes across, where the shoulder belts cross. I am butted up against that seat. That's 58 inches. 58 inches to the Firewall. Now, y'all see that mark right there? That is the back of the motor. That's 69 inches to the back of the block. We are allowed 70. So, we're just showing everybody we do pay attention to the rule book. We know exactly where we can set our rear hoop on these cars. Obviously, we didn't measure this beforehand. We just know that sitting where we sit, we know we meet that rule. So, we're 1 inch within that rule. Also, from the Firewall, you can be 24 inches. So, with the 24 inches dead on where the Firewall is, you got 5 inches behind the dash bar to do all your wiring, your gauges, and everything. And when I sit in that seat without even any padding in it, I can reach and touch this dash bar. So, it makes it easier when you do things like we did. And that's why my battery cutoff is right there. So when I'm sitting in my seat strapped in, I can reach up there and slap that battery cutoff, because off, if you see how we got it mounted, on, that switch is turned toward me. So if anything happens, I just have to reach up there and slap it. I don't have to try to grab it and twist it. So it's just small things we think about. Try to make it easier on the driver. And yeah. We're about to get busy. Pops and I are fixing to cut a Firewall out. We're going to get our 18 gauge sheet laid up here on the back of the car. And yeah, we got to get that out, don't we? And we're going to cut a Firewall. We're going to get it tacked in place. And that way we can work on doing our brake pedal mount. Because we are actually going to bring this bar. Y'all remember this bar on Dustin's car came out, bent 90 in front of the Firewall. This bar is actually going to stop inside the Firewall. We think.
I like it.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We think. And we may bring it out. We may have to, but I'll explain that if we do. What I'm thinking is we may have to just to get our brake pedal mount where it needs to be. But no big deal. Y'all hang out with us. We're going to work on a factory stock. All right, y'all. Well, we got the Firewall tacked in. And we had cut the frame right here. And it just laid out perfect. With the Firewall level, it was right against it. So I was able to tack it down there. Tack it on that tube there. And then tack it to the frame over there. And we got it tacked to the bottom of these bay bars just to hold it. If y'all remember on Dustin's car, we put a tab under there. And what we'll do is we'll weld that tab to the bay bar and then rosette weld through the hole to that Firewall just for a little added security there. And this metal had I don't know if y'all can tell, looked like they had hit it with a forklift or something and bent it pretty good. So we may have to do a little more straightening on that. We laid it in the floor. We laid it in the floor and hit it with a rubber mallet, but I think we're going to have to hit it with a bigger hammer. So may have to throw our purse at it. So right now, what we're going to do, now that we got the firewall in it, we're going to go ahead and finish this drive shaft loop. I'm going to pull this seat out of here, and that bar that's underneath the seat that we're going to use for a seat mount, that is 120 wall tubing. And if y'all remember, that hoop right there, that main hoop is 120 wall as well. So we tied all that in good right here under the seat. And instead of bolting through that 120 wall with just drilling a hole, we're actually going to drill it out, and we're going to slug it with some steering shaft and weld it in before we put this floor pan in. And that way, when he gets his seat over in here, he can just drill from the bottom through that steering shaft, and that'll be a 1/2 inch bolt, 2 1/2 inch bolts in the bottom of the seat. Kirky calls for 2 5/16, I think, in the bottom. Yeah. And 2 or 3 up top, which we have 3 in ours in our car. We have 3 5/16 and 4 3/8 in our car. So he can put 2 1/2 inch in the bottom and 3 5/16 in the top, and that'll meet the requirements pretty much is what Kirky calls for. I know some guys got 1 up top and 1 in the bottom, so y'all need to be better at being safe. So, but anyway, we're gonna pull that seat out, drive shaft loop, slug that bar. Then once we get that done, we can lay in our driver's side floor pan and keep on trucking. We made the hole in this firewall just a little bigger than what we did in Dustin's car. I went back and looked at pictures and video of Dustin's car, and the top of that hole right up there was real close to the transmission. Dustin didn't have any issue getting his motor in, or he didn't mention any. He may have, but we raised that up just a little bit off of that transmission. And before anybody says that ain't factory, that's a gaping hole in a factory firewall. So we just want to make it a little easier. Like I said, on these guys putting these cars together, they can slide this motor in there easy. And motor, transmission, everything at once. So that's why we make this removable. That's why we make all our bars up here bolt in. And that way all this can be taken off. Swap a motor easy and keep on trucking. Just like we're about to do. Y'all hang out. All right, y'all. It is Wednesday now. And Pops and I are back down here in the shop, and we're back on the firewall and floor pan this evening. We were planning to do a lot more last night, and we did. We just didn't video it because we had a little malfunction junction over here. We tore up the tripod. Y'all remember Pops made this? He bent it up U-shaped to fit my phone. If I could show y'all, we'd be all right. And it broke right here where we've been using it. So Pops got the ground clamped to it. We got to bring this up here and weld her back on and fix our tripod so we can get back to videoing. So let me turn the camera around, show y'all what we got done last night and today. We put one piece in today, so we'll turn it around and show y'all what we got going on. We're about to get busy again. Y'all hang out. Alrighty, as y'all can see, we got the driver's side floor pan in it, and we got our piece of firewall, if you want to call it. We call it throttle wall. That's where the throttle pedal goes. And what we do, instead of doing a short piece for the tunnel to meet the firewall, if y'all remember, those of you that watched us build Dustin's car, we bring this piece all the way up to the bottom of our dash bar and our 1 1/4 right here. And that way it sturdies this up to mount the gas pedal in it. We use a tab, that's what I was talking about. Weld the tab to the dash bar, and then I rosette weld through the hole of the tab. And we'll do the same on this bar, and that will stiffen all this up right here, which is pretty stiff. I can barely move it, but it just stiffens it all the way up. So also, you can see I have tack welds in there. This front piece right here, where the driver is in here, as y'all can see, that turn down goes down and under the car. So we'll weld all of this solid up through here in front of the driver. That way no fumes or anything coming here with him. And That way it don't kind of smother him in there during a race, because that would go through there and right up in his face. So we'll get all that tacked on and welded up. And Pops and I were about to cut the piece for the side of the tunnel here, and we're going to do the top of the tunnel. Once we get those in, then we can work on getting our passenger side floor pan over to where it's going to be and mate the top to the floor pan. So then we can work on all that up there, because that's going to be a little tricky. We done that a little different this time. So from the drive shaft tunnel up to the hole in the firewall, it's going to be angled up. Well, not really from the drive shaft tunnel. It'll be about right there at that piece. Up. It angles up. So, but anyway, I got to give a shout out real quick to my buddy Jesse Merriman, 11J Motorsports and Automotive. Jesse is out in Oregon. I think he sells parts and stuff too. He does fab work. He does automotive work, racing, daily drivers, whatever you got. He sent us 2 hats. But what Jesse did send us were our Weir's Machine aluminum levers that go on our Saginaw 3-speed, and our shifter rods bolt to them. So, shout out to Jesse. Dude, we appreciate you. And Jesse's been following us a long time. We've been friends a long time. Y'all have heard me talk about him before. Couldn't do a lot of this, man, without the help of everybody. Just wanted to shout Jesse out, because he's given us a lot, and we very, very appreciate it. But for now, we're going to get back on this factory stock. Y'all hang out. All right, y'all. I wanted to kind of turn the time lapse off and show y'all. We got our side piece in, and we just put the top in. That's what we were doing in the time lapse. We leveled the side of our tunnel here. Obviously, we'll pull that up level when we put that other side on. And we had the knots for our 1 1/4 bar right there. So what we done, we broke out the old Green Lee conduit pipe punch, electrical conduit punch. For those that are curious, it's a Green Lee conduit punch. Yep, mistakes happen. And that's just the bushings on there that take up the slack. And of course, we use these little dies. If nobody's ever used one of these, electricians use them. You can punch out different holes for electrical conduit. Well, they work great for going through thin metal. So we have punched through 1/8 inch with that. So it works really good. Sorry that the time lapses are long, y'all. We're just trying to get a bunch done. And Matt's picking this thing up Sunday. So we're just trying to make sure we get done with it. And that way we can get him on the road Sunday, and because he's got to drive a pretty good ways. I think it's 3 or 3.5 hours. So we'll get him fixed up so he can get it and get going, and we're hoping to be done with it before Saturday. So Saturday is a good day to take a break. We all want to come in this shop and clean up, because y'all, we got a mess. We want to clean our car off. We want to slide this car over and get our car cleaned off so we can work on it and get some more body work done on it. The motor should be done soon, so hopefully we'll have it. And we got to get our transmission out of this car so we can get it worked on. But anyway, Pops and I are going to keep on trucking. We're going to kick around some brackets and stuff while we're in here. We're going to keep on trucking, y'all. We're going to keep slinging metal at this thing. And appreciate y'all hanging out with us. I don't want this video to get too long. I don't know how long it is. But y'all hang out with us. This is part 3 of this car, or part 4 of this car. And I quit doing the part thing. But we're getting there, y'all. Appreciate y'all watching. Thank you again to all the sponsors. And can't thank y'all enough. Appreciate y'all watching the videos of these builds. We know this is kind of repetitive. We're doing the same thing over and over, but we are making changes here and there. Hopefully soon we'll have some good racing content coming with our personal cars. So it'll be fun. Season's going wide open right now, so can't thank y'all enough. But Pops and I are gonna get busy. Until next time.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all very much for watching. Thank you for your comments. Till next time, God bless you.
See y'all.